Good morning. Good morning and welcome to First Unitarian Universalist Church of Nashville. My name is Jay Tiefenbrunn. My pronouns are she, her, and I am very pleased to serve as your Director of Music Ministries. It is my pleasure to welcome you this morning to our online Water Communion worship service. If you're watching live, buttons will appear that will bring you to our website. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, visit firstuunash.org and click on the With You Worship Portal button for all the information you need to participate in today's worship service, including the order of service, joys and concerns, and a link to our offering. We have a number of musicians joining us throughout the service. Singers from our choirs have contributed their voices to lead our congregational singing, and they are joined by our collaborative pianist, Holling Smith-Bourne, our children's music coordinator, Karina Daza, and later on you'll hear from our rhythm section and our favorite guest fiddler, Amberly Rosen. So I invite you to bring yourself present in this moment, make your body ready for singing, and join in our opening song, Blue Boat Home. I'd like to invite you now to take a breath, center even deeper into your heart space, and connect with our neighbors worshiping online with us. It is so wonderful to see you in the chat. We love saying hello to you there. Let us know you're here. Good morning.
I seem to be audio only. I apologize for that. Today's chalice lighting is The Spirit of Water by Katie Gelfand. We light this chalice as a symbol of reunion. We reunite in this sanctuary to share the flow of our hearts with one another. We gather together in ritual to celebrate our fountains of joy, to hold each other through storms of grief, to guide one another through rapids of transformation, to rest together on ponds of stillness. Together, we honor the spirit of water, its many forms, and its life-giving essence.
Good morning. I'm the Reverend Diane Daugert, Developmental Lead Minister. The words for our call to worship this morning were written by Seth Carrier Ladd. Wind, water, sun. Wind that whispers through the willow trees, sun that sustains us, water that washes over willing earth and weathered stones, a smile shared and savored, a child's squeal of delight as she dances in daisies and daffodils, the quiet joy of gathered community. This is the spirit of life and love that we call forth now in this gathering. May this spirit infuse our hearts, fill our souls, and carry us forward like a wave on the ocean as we enter now into this sacred time and space. Come, let us worship.
Good morning. I'm Marguerite Mills, your Director of Lifespan Religious Education, and our story today is a Sufi parable. A stream from its source in far-off mountains passed through every kind and description of countryside, from cold waters filled with brook trout and the bears who would like to catch them, and slimy sculpins sheltering among the bottom rocks, to more waters with Canada geese laying their eggs, and blackbirds and minnows feasting on insects, and toads and frogs and salamanders, and beavers busily building their dams, and here and there children laughing and skipping stones on the water. and on to warmer waters with foxes and raccoons, until at last it reached the sands of the desert. Just as it had crossed every other barrier, the stream tried to cross this one, but it found that as fast as it ran into the sand, its waters disappeared. It tried again and again. It dashed itself against the sands, and the water just disappeared. However, it was convinced that its destiny was to cross this desert, and yet there was no way. Now, a hidden voice coming from the desert itself whispered, "The wind crosses that desert, and so can the stream." The stream objected that it was dashing itself against the sand and only getting absorbed, that the wind could fly, and that this was why it could cross a desert. By hurtling in your own accustomed way, you cannot get across. You will either disappear or become a marsh. You must allow the wind to carry you over to your destination. But how could this happen? By allowing yourself to be absorbed into the wind. Well, this idea was not acceptable to the stream. It had never been absorbed before. It did not want to lose its individuality, its way of doing things. And once having lost that, how was one to know that it could ever be regained? Well, the wind, said the sand, performs this function. It takes up water, carries it over the desert, and then lets it fall again. Falling as rain, the water again becomes a river. How can I know this to be true?
Jonah's having trouble with his video.
Here I am. Let's see if we can do that. Good morning. My name is Jonah Aller Isaacs. I am your religious education coordinator, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to worship. As Unitarian Universalists, our spiritual paths vary, but in this congregation, we have made a covenant together. We affirm our interdependence, celebrate our differences, and work for justice. We are a welcoming congregation, and we deepen our relationships as we serve our congregation's mission to create community, nurture spiritual growth, and act on our values in the broader world, guided by reason and compassion. I want to extend a special welcome to visitors worshiping with us this morning. If you are seeking a spiritual home, we hope that you may find it here. All are welcome to attend our services, and people become members of this congregation by signing the membership book and supporting the church with their time and finances. If you are considering joining the church, please contact Denise Gauss, your Assistant Minister for Congregational Engagement. Her email address can be found in the staff directory under Contact Us on our website. Following the service, we hope everyone will enjoy at least one of the online opportunities for fellowship listed in our online worship portal. And our website holds many other announcements of interest, which I hope you will read. And I have been asked to emphasize these. Please register now, and I mean now, for programming for children and youth, and for covenant groups and nonviolent communication practice groups. They all start in September. Go to the Faith Development section of the website at firstunash.org. If you have questions, please contact Marguerite Mills, Director of Lifespan Religious Education, at mmills@firstunash.org. Our annual Habitat for Humanity build is taking place as usual. We need 9 volunteers for Sunday, October 11th, and 11 volunteers for Saturday, October 17th. They are prepared for our safety with all personal masks, gloves, and helmets. We will be in smaller groups so that we can spread out. Please help our commitment to this deserving family and email habitat@thefun.org if you can help. You may know that we share every Sunday's collection with an organization whose work outside our walls aligns with our values. For the month of August, our Share the Plate partner is the Palmer Lecture Series, created to honor our congregation's first settled minister, the Reverend Bob Palmer. You can find more about it on our online worship portal. For now, we don't have the pleasure of passing physical offering bowls among us, but our finance folks have made sure that anyone, anytime, can access our online donation form at firstunash.org. If you would like to mail a check to the church, please write in the memo line how you would like your donation to be used. If you want your gift to be credited to Pledge, please write Pledge. If you write Sunday Offering, it will be donated to our Share the Plate partner. In this season of virtual offering bowls, we are especially grateful for the steady generosity which allows us, both within and beyond the congregation, to continue creating community, nurturing spiritual growth, and acting on our values.
We are also deeply grateful for your presence with us. My name is Denise Gouch. I am your Assistant Minister for Congregational Engagement, and I would like to invite you now to join our weekly ritual of gathered community. Following the musical interlude that we will have in just a few minutes, we will share the joys and sorrows that are submitted through the online form, provided permission has been granted on that form. All joys and concerns will be shared as usual with our lay ministry team. So now I invite you to settle yourselves wherever you are. Know that you have made the space that you occupy holy simply by being there. And know also that you are connected right now with all of us who have gathered to worship together. We gather across space and time, but in this moment, we all know that we are gathered together as a community. We are deeply connected to each other. And as you take a deep breath and release it, you may become aware of certain joys or sorrows that you have brought to this moment, that you bring to our gathering. And it may be that you have a joy or a concern that is deep and profound that you would like to share, either privately with the lay ministry team or with this gathered congregation. If so, you are invited to use the Joys and Concerns form to send that to us. Or you are also welcome, of course, just to enjoy the beautiful music. So now let us listen together.
to my soul.
Right. We have several things, and forgive me, but they have all arrived at the very last second. So give me a moment. Jonah Eller Isaacs has submitted a joy. He says, it was so wonderful to have Chris and Valerie Martin over this past weekend for a distanced patio dinner, especially since they brought cupcakes. Cupcakes make everything better, don't they? Elizabeth Gashir submitted both a joy and a concern. I began my final year of my Master of Divinity this past week and am required to write a thesis paper this semester. Your thoughts and prayers and good energy are appreciated as I endeavor to finish this journey well. We're so glad to be with you on that journey, Elizabeth. Dick and Gail Spar have shared a celebration. On Tuesday, we will be celebrating our 30th anniversary. Congratulations. Jessica Young has shared this. My grandmother and Emmett and Esme's great-grandmother, Margie Fulkerson, died on Tuesday at the age of 97. She was a strong, stubborn lady that expressed her love by feeding her family and making quilts. We will miss her. Our thoughts will be with you and your family, Jessica. And Charlotte, but we knew her as Kat Archer, has sent in a concern. Many of you may remember Kat, who was a member of FUN a few years ago. She writes this: I have not been to FUN for several years as I moved to MTSU in 2013 after my mother passed away to complete my bachelor's and master's degrees. I recently returned from Florida where I was attempting to pursue my PhD in hopes of teaching. Unfortunately, I was unable to complete that due to physical and mental health issues. I began counseling, but as my contract and lease there ended, so did my access to mental health care. I need to finish that process and find out if I am now permanently disabled and unable to work due to these issues. I am now back in Nashville with no transportation, no job, and no prospects. I have temporary shelter until September 15th, but I am facing the prospect of being homeless on the streets with nothing except a mobility scooter at that point. I am trying to crowdfund for a van so that if I have to live on the streets, I will at least have shelter for myself and my mobility scooter. Due to my mental health and cognitive issues, I'm having trouble reaching out to people and doing the things necessary to find a solution to my situation. Kat, we are so glad to hear from you and glad that you are back in touch with the congregation. Please do stay in touch so that we can support you during this really difficult season. And now, holding these joys and concerns and all the others, I know there's so much lying on our hearts right now. Holding all of this, let us lift together our spirits and our hearts in prayer. Spirit of life and love, the source and the end of the love, the joy, the peace that flows forever through our lives individually, our lives collectively. We are grateful for this time and space to gather together, to support each other, to share with each other all that is our lives, all the ups and downs and celebrations and fears and sorrows that being human bring to each of us. May we use this time to support each other, to find comfort for ourselves, and also to learn to be more compassionate in the wider world, to gather the courage that we need to move out into the world, to support each other more fully, to create a world with more justice, more peace, with ever more love flowing through it, always and everywhere. Amen. May it be so. May we be so.
The stream had asked the sand, "How can I know if this is true?" It did not trust the wind to carry it over the desert. The sand replied, "It is so, and if you do not believe it, you cannot become more than a quagmire, and even that could take many, many years. It's certainly not the same as a stream. I am afraid I'll forget who I am, and I'll become less than I am now, or something that I don't want to be. Can I not remain the same stream that I am today?" "You cannot remain so," the whisper said. "Your essential part is carried away and forms a stream again. No, you will not be the same. But do you really want to be? Haven't you already changed from what you once were?" When it heard this, certain echoes began to arise in the thoughts of the stream. Dimly, it remembered the state in which it, or some part of it, had been held in the arms of the wind. And it also remembered, or did it, that this was not necessarily the obvious thing to do, but it was the real thing to do. And the stream raised its vapor into the welcoming arms of the wind, which gently and easily bore it upward and along, letting it fall softly as soon as they reached the top of a mountain, many, many miles away. And this time, the stream was able to remember and record more strongly in its mind the details of this experience. It reflected, "Yes, now I understand. To change is to learn and grow." The stream was learning. The sands whispered, "We know because we see it happen over and over again." This is why it is said that the way in which the stream of life continues on its journey is written in the sands. And so ends our story.
Our next song that I would love to have you sing along with is by Harry Belafonte. He was inspired to write this song on a trip to Guinea, a small country in West Africa. He met there with a storyteller who went way back in African mythology and told a story about the fire, that would be the sun, the moon, the mountains, and the water, and how these things together turn the world around. I'd like to invite you to make some space around you, rise up in spirit or in body as you're inspired, and join our house band and singers from our congregation and our choirs in singing Turn the World Around.
We come from the fire, living in the fire, go back to the fire, turn the world around. We come from the water, go back to the water, turn the world around.
Water is a gift of life, a blessing, a nurturing, sustaining, healing prayer that flows through all we know and have ever known. Carried by wind and wave, current and stream, tide and storm, water is an ever-present reality. Though it takes many forms, its essential essence remains the same. Our human lives are like that too. We too are moved through life by forces greater than our individual selves, sometimes taken up by storms, sometimes held and carried by rivers of grace. By these movements, we are shaped, formed, changed, and transformed. It is our tradition as Unitarian Universalists to mark this time of year with the celebration of a water communion, pouring the waters of our individual lives into a common vessel, symbol of the community we create together, a force greater than any one of us alone can be. We live at a time when the winds of change rage through our lives, keeping us physically distant from each other. Yet the essential essence of who we are together remains unchanged. A community of covenant, bound in our mutual commitments of love and service. A covenant that extends to generations that came before and those that will follow us. Like those who came before, we hold a vision for a transformed world, the promised land of beloved community that lies beyond our current reach. I hold out to you that if we are to reach that promised land, the world we dream of, we must first be transformed. It's like Albert Einstein, who noted that we can't solve problems by using the same thinking that created them. And Audre Lorde, who said the master's tools will never dismantle the master's house. Make no mistake, these times we are in are changing us. Like the stream that crossed the desert by becoming a cloud, we have a vast desert to cross, a desert of hatred and greed, of denial and deceit, of an unchecked virus, and a virulent racism unchecked and unleashed. We can be like the stream, dashing ourselves against the desert, hoping to change it, or we can relinquish ourselves to it. The torrents of grief, the pounding rains of rage, and even the placid pace of our lives in quarantine, not waiting for things to go back to the way they were, but allowing ourselves to be transformed for the future that awaits, letting the essence of who we are carry us through to the other side. Today, we pour our lives out for each other as blessings, gifts given and received, prayers that we may be the ones to turn this world around. It is the dream our ancestors dreamed for us, the dream we hold out for our children and our children's children. May the holy waters we gather be a healing balm for these troubled times. May we make it so through our living.
We bring waters from the four directions, water from the north, from icy seas and frozen lands, water that commingles and is part of the water of the globe. Bless these waters, that they may be healing waters. May the waters make us new. We bring waters from the four directions, water from the south, from summer showers and warm lagoons, water that commingles and is part of the water of the globe. Bless these waters, that they may bring us back to ourselves. May the waters make us whole. We bring waters from the four directions, water from the east, from monsoons and sacred pools, water that commingles and is part of the water of the globe. Bless these waters, that they may quench our thirst, now and evermore. May the waters make us free. We bring waters from the four directions, water from the west, from dry places, especially precious for its scarcity, water that commingles and is part of the water of the globe. Bless these waters, for they restore us to community once again. May the waters make us one.
This symbolic water, gathered from the four corners of the earth, mingled together as a sign of this beloved community's annual celebration of our communion with one another, has been transformed into our own holy water. We use this symbolic water to remind us that we are connected by our common bonds, for we all come from the water. We all live in the water. We all go back to the water and turn the world around.
We save some of this symbolic water for the sacred times when we celebrate that we come from the water when we are born. It is used in the vases in which we place the roses that we use during child dedications in the year ahead. May this water reconnect us to the waters from which we come. We save some of this symbolic water for the sacred times when we share our most profound joys and concerns with this beloved community. It is used in the bowl we use for sharing those joys and concerns when we are able to physically be together again. May this water reconnect us to one another every week.
And then finally, we pour the rest of the water on the ground, the site of our church columbarium, where so many of our community members are laid to rest at their deaths. We will read the names of those who are interred here. May this water reconnect us to those who have preceded us in death. Gustav Dobrin, Douglas George Polk, Sophie Dobrin, Sidney Paul Kolowick, Charles Alden Dana, W. Herbert Hollingsworth, Mary Lillian H. Ebbets, Pauline Cohen Berger, Ian Gregory Smith, Julia M. Barnes, William Griffin,
Sarah Helen Dana Holmes, Mildred Benson, Dorothea Griffin, Stanley Ray Jernigan, Winifred Smith Lyserson, Robert Adam Lovelace, Elizabeth Irons Harris, Sean Lennox Conklin, Jean Williams Morgan, Aaron Hiller, John Floyd Smith,
Joseph Russell Moore, Lori Stevens, David Page Barnes, Eve Ansoff, Joe DeBona, Dewey W. Grantham, Raymond C. Norris, Barbara Stacy Dana, Joy Dedman Gasta, Nancy Alina Cushman, Penelope Montfort,
Lawrence T. Ratner, Jace Birch, Francis Crowley, Dan Michael Tatarin, Michael Tatarin, Caitlin Christine Lee, Joan Pratt Tillman, Carol Sue Alley, Robert Eldon Canwright Sr., Eng Ming Lin, Bao Ching Lin,
Duane Barry Wyatt, Michael J. Sitzman, Tara Lee Driscoll, John Robert Newbrow, Harry Howe Ransom, Phyllis Phillips, Leslie Phillips, Ralph Jerry Kazort, James Monroe Williams, Suzanne Peterson Reed, Wrestle, Rusty, Walther.
William S. Chipping, M. Francis Watts, Barbara Burr Curlis, Dorothy L. T. Conklin, Cornella Faust, Nancy A. Ransom, Sheldon E. Rosenberg, Virginia B. Grantham, Joy Moya Chipping, Jean Dedman, Sarah Alexander.
May we take a moment of silence as collectively we hold the names of these beloved, those who walked among you, who are still here among us in spirit. May we hold them in our memory. We come from water, and to water we will return, like drops falling to the earth.
The words to our chalice extinguishing were written by Elizabeth Sell Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
And Diane, please turn on your microphone, sorry.
Our benediction is words written by Joel Miller. Let our lives be a prayer. Let our lives be a prayer that waters dry souls, mends broken hearts, refuses to be terrorized, seeks this world's beauty, and carries us through its storms. This service is over. May our service continue renewed.